If you've been dreaming about a place where life feels a little more intentional, discover the Canopy in Sebastopol by City Ventures. This new community offers solar-powered homes, surrounded by mature trees, nature preserves, and walking trails, with a vibrant local downtown, renowned wineries, and the Bay Area all within easy reach. Enjoy low-maintenance living, refined design, and built-in eco-friendly features that make everyday life easier. Start your next chapter at the Canopy by City Ventures. Visit cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Imagine a room that feels calmer, warmer, more inviting. That's the quiet beauty of Serena and Lily. Every piece is designed in-house, crafted by expert hands, and made to live effortlessly with what you treasure most. Choose from over 150 fabrics and finishes, including bespoke sizing, and let their complimentary design team guide you. Start your transformation at serenaandlily.com. Discover thoughtful luxury at serenaandlily.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Patreon bonus time is here. That's right. We're talking about Children of the Corn, the first one on Kill by Kill. Well, hey there, hi there, ho there. It's your old pal Patrick Hamilton coming to you once again from Gatlin, Nebraska, a town that's no longer on any map. This is the Kill by Kill podcast, but the Patreon bonus edition, where we do a bonus episode exclusively for you, our Patreon supporters. And as always, there's only one person I trust to dig through that suitcase to make sure she finds the grossest corn cross she can possibly find. The one, the only, Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
Just meekly going along with whatever you say. When you know perfectly goddamn well we should beat feet and get the fuck out and back on that highway.
Okay, so I think this is the real problem with this movie, is that it's so many times when you find a Stephen King short story, you're like, well, at least they'll be able to fit everything in. And then you remember that both the short story and this film portray the main couple as two people who should not be together. And it's only illustrated by their response to stimuli, in which one person says, we should get as far away from here as possible. And the guy says, but wait, I need to investigate this. And that's when you should punch them in the mouth and go, keys, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I mean, far be it for me to say that you should just abandon a child that you've hit with your car. but also that kid was already fucking dead.
Right.
Like, as soon as they figured out, somebody already killed him and pushed him out in front of the car, you are being trapped for something.
Yeah.
Back your car. Leave the child's corpse there that you did not kill.
Right.
And there, once you figured out, I am not responsible for this child's death, it is time for you to go.
You just beat feet onto an actual town and you tell them what fucking happened. And if you have to stay overnight somewhere, you do it there. You certainly do not go, let's go to the small town that isn't on the map, that the local gas station attendant, who will get into it, says, don't go there. So is it that the other question is, I guess at this point, are they really going to be allowed to leave? Because the signs have obviously been fucked with to lead them into Gatlin because Isaac wants them to be there, right?
Well, sure, but also you just keep trying to find ways to leave then.
Yeah. They don't do that.
No.
I found this a confounding watch. I probably hadn't seen it in 25 years at the very minimum. I didn't remember liking it much before. I found the idea of continuing it as a franchise to be bizarre.
Yeah, that's one of horror's great mysteries. Like why was there perceived to be a demand for more of these?
I don't know it's just one of the wildest fucking things when it comes to fucking Harvey Weinstein and his criminal ass and his dumb shit brother who allowed him to do this stuff. But they were just convinced, like, one of these days we're going to make a good Hellraiser. One of these days we're going to make a good Children of the Corn movie. One of these days we're going to make a good Mimic sequel or whatever the fuck they were kind of just did to death. And they never could because they weren't good at it. They weren't good judges of this type of material. They were bad at it. And the fact that anyone did any fucking business with them had zero to do with their skills with horror movies. As someone had suggested that, like, oh, we should have movies like Dimension movies. I'm like, fuck no. Outside of the Scream franchise, name the great Dimensions film. The Faculty, same diff. You're working with the same fucking people who brought you Scream. It's just not a fount of great movie making efforts. And they were so convinced by the success of Scream that, like, we've got the golden touch. We know what to do. It's like, no. You hired a good screenwriter and you hired a great director. They knew what to do and you cut the fucking check. And that's it, because there's no evidence that they could recreate it any other way without driving someone insane.
Right, exactly. It's like, they give themselves credit for the success. It's like, you didn't write it, you didn't direct it.
You cut checks, and thank goodness you did and all, whatever. But are you fucking kidding me? You suck at this. You suck at this. And we love plenty of shitty horror movies. And I'm sure there are Dimension movies that we do actually like for their, it might not be good, but it might be great qualities. I just can't, off the top of my head, think of one that's like, oh, they've got a New Line like run in them. I don't recall such things. I'm sure, hit us in the tennis and let us know what your favorite Dimension movie is that isn't related to Scream, that did not come out of a Wes Craven or, Scream related participant. Because I don't think Dracula 2000 counts. I'd have to look at a list, but Mimic is okay-ish. So there's that. I
mean, Mimic is, very gory. If you like seeing children get killed, like there's a lot of child death. There might be the most child death I've ever seen in any one horror movie. I guess other than Children of the Corn, but there's a lot of gruesome child death in Mimic, and that is the one thing that stands out about it for me.
I mean, I'm just like going through a list here, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, The Crow, okay. But not, The Crow's not a fucking horror movie.
But because is that horror movie that like, you could make an argument that has some horror elements, but I would say it's more of a thriller with romance elements.
What is Adrenaline Fear the Rush? Gotta investigate that. Like Mimic is the only one that's really the Prophecy movies. Okay, those are direct-to-video films.
I do find the first one to be again not good but watchable, and that's although admittedly that is 95% because of Christopher Walken and then later Viggo Mortensen.
Existenz is technically a Dimension movie, not a horror movie.
Not a horror movie.
But oh boy, the rest of this is just a lot of Highlander and Hellraiser sequels that you would like. No thanks. Again, scary movie related to Scream. It just does not count in my mind. Dracula 2000. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, I can't wait till we get into the production of this, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia page and there are like two things that are just standing out in like bold red type for me.
Please let us know, because I'm just going through the rest of this and not finding any gold. Hey, Venom, a movie I actually like. Wolf Creek, that's an acquisition. Yeah. This sucks. This Grindhouse, there's no fucking, it didn't cut again. Not coming from them. It came out of two other dudes who just greenlit it. Go for it. What's going to happen in here?
All right. So I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for Children of the Corn. And I feel like you might already have this written down, because
I have no notes as far as this
really?
production,
Okay. All right. So I did not actually know that Stephen King had been slated to write the film adaptation of this originally. I did not know that. Hal Roach executives did not want to use King's script, and George Goldsmith was hired to rewrite it. Goldsmith said that King's script started with 35 pages of Bert and Vicky arguing in a car.
Okay. So but that's a thing. Like, I hate to bring this up, but Jeepers Creepers pretty much uses that formula, and that you can make something out of it. That's a dual type of start that requires a filmmaker who can fucking make that work. There's no way they're making it work at Hal Roach Studios.
Well, also, and as averse as I am to giving Jeepers Creepers credit for anything, I think that does a pretty good job of establishing who these characters are.
Exactly.
And it also takes the interesting tack of making them siblings instead of the stereotypical, at that point, husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. Whereas here, all you establish, these two fucking hate each other. Okay. Yeah. Why are they stuck on this road trip from hell? Boy, I can't wait to get away from them and, actually, for things to start to happen. And the other thing was, and this is like, to me, this is on a par with when a filmmaker, after a movie does poorly with audiences, will come back and say, "Oh, well, I actually meant it to be funny."
Right.
And it's like, no, you didn't. Shut up.
You did not.
After the release of the highly successful film, which I was like, it wasn't?
It was?
Maybe, I don't remember.
I mean, it's made for $3 million. It makes nearly 15. So that's a good multiplier.
I guess that's that would be considered successful.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably spent about $8 paying the actors. So
exactly. $3 million is the fucking budget. That's location. That's actors, and Peter Horton. It was nobody here.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton wasn't either. I mean, nobody in this movie was, particularly, well known at that point.
Exactly.
Goldsmith, who I believe is he was the other screenwriter, revealed that much of the story was a metaphor for the Iranian Revolution, with the takeover of the town by quasi-religious zealots acting for an evil god based on the Ayatollah Khomeini and his Revolutionary Guard taking over Iran. Bert and Vicky became analogous to the American hostages, and Goldsmith using a horror film to expose the dangers and evils of religious fundamentalism, something few critics recognize.
Yeah, I would agree with those critics. It is hard to recognize that when it has no point or standing in the actual finished product. I mean, also, I'm glad he turned on the news or whatever, but that doesn't make it so.
Yeah. Also, the killing of the adults, that's straight out of the story.
Yeah.
And I realize the story is extremely stripped down. But that is the point of the story, is that these two adults are trapped in this town because they have been designated as the next sacrifice for this unseen god.
Yeah. And they're forced to defend themselves against children who want to kill them. And of course, they do not want to kill children. So, like, they're not going to just knife a 9-year-old just because he's coming at you with a knife. That's not something they're going to do. That's not built into their brain case. These are things that would make it a positive for cinematic interpretation. But the Iranian Revolution is a stretch and a half. Turn off NBC News and start writing better scripts.
Yeah.
This is just boring, but I did enjoy one of the opening shots is of the day that the Gatlin, Nebraska Iranian Revolution happens. And the local preacher has on their board for what their sermon is going to be about corn drought and the Lord. And in all my years, this is the first time I've ever heard of a porn drought. Oh, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Corn drought. Corn. That makes actual sense, I guess. I'm not sure what they had to do with the Lord. I assume that what is happening is that their fields are taken over by the dumbest version of Pennywise ever.
Yes.
This is another one of King's interdimensional beings who fell to earth, this time in a cornfield, and he starts whispering to the dumbest shits in town who all happen to be children.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
A home that feels intentional starts with pieces that stand out, and that's what Serena and Lily does best. Their heirloom quality furniture is designed in-house and crafted by expert makers to work beautifully with what you already own. Customized with over 150 fabrics, finishes, and even bespoke sizing, with free design services every step of the way. Connect with their experts and start designing at serenaandlily.com. Discover endless possibilities at serenaandlily.com.
And for some reason, he needs them to hang various people up on a corn cross so he can make them glow like they're in Tron. And this somehow works. What is the economy of this place, right? Because he who walks behind the rows needs these kids to plant and harvest corn. What do they do with the corn? Where does the corn go? They obviously aren't making money. They need the gas station guy. But what do they do with the corn? Where corn go? What is the economics of this place? Are they a part of it? Does Jason's pot business supplant how they pay for the Department of Education in town? We don't know. This is an economy that doesn't fucking work for me, Gina.
I'm not even sure, like how are they buying food?
Exactly. Are they just eating corn? Are they eating corn for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Because it's the only shit they have.
You know, they have this deal with this ancient gas station owner because he quote supplies them with fuel for what?
For what? Because we see the pictures of what they do. They're hand planting and hand picking corn, which I'll give you is not like easy, but we never see a moving tractor. Although they seem to have a lot of fucking fuel because they burn the fucking cornfield down at the end of it.
You know, are they driving to the nearest town with their corn supply to sell it at the bougie farmer's market?
Right.
Which seems to me like you're going to have a pretty competitive market there. Yeah. Everybody grows corn.
Yes, especially in Nebraska. Like you swing a dead cat and you're hitting corn. It's just what everyone ever has. So maybe they have a deal where they're just feeding one particular industrial corn supplier. And like, how long does that? It makes more sense if this tragedy had happened 20 years ago. And that's why they're no longer on the map. And the cornfield just exists, and we never hear about them ever interacting with the outside world. That I am down with. What I'm not down with is this happens 3 years later. No child has aged. No child has aged.
No child has aged. Nobody's family has come looking for them because they stopped hearing from them.
Right.
They just killed all the adults and stopped communicating with the outside world, and that's that.
Or they were already a cult, right? Anyone who's left has left to the point where they never want to come back. And then Isaac rallies the children to kill all the adults, and everyone's just like, you know what? They do their thing inside of there and we don't fucking bother them. We just took them off the map. It doesn't matter. That would be fine. But when you try to make it like this is just 3 years later and they've magically been taken off the map, but they're still selling corn somehow, how does that fucking work? How does it work?
Yeah, this is a true dollar sign situation.
Yes.
It seems to me you need an adult in charge.
Right.
Now Isaac has the countenance of a little adult.
Mm-hmm. He's
very serious. He's very single-minded. He is, while being a murderous cult leader, he's also mostly rational-minded. Whereas Malachi is basically, a killing machine at this point.
Right.
He is looking for opportunities to hurt people. Whereas, Isaac, has a plan in mind. Now, what this plan is and what happens when Isaac and Malachi get to the point where they, get to, time to die age, which, now, of course, what makes the short story so effectively chilling is that, number one, Bert and Vicky, they're kind of not really useful characters.
Right.
They show up, they both die.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that. But the chilling aspect to the end of the story is that he who walks behind the rose, who is a sort of godlike figure controlling everything, has determined that the age when the cult members must sacrifice themselves is dropped down a year.
Yeah.
So eventually, all of these kids are going to die.
Yeah.
Because I think it started at 17 and then they said it moved down to 16 and then the book ends it's down to 15. So it's like, okay, this is a long game in which, this whole town is eventually just going to kill themselves.
Yeah.
And that's chilling. But it's like, there's no indicator here, like, and I realize, people are going to be like, oh, it doesn't have to be. We're not, why does there need to be a bunch of backstory? Because it doesn't make any sense. That's why.
Yes. I think because there's such a lack of, unless you're going to make this a endless chase. And I somehow wonder if King's impulse with the screenplay was to make it this long build up to just an endless hour-long chase, right? Where you have these people hate one another. There's a building tension. It becomes unbearable. Weird shit's happening outside the window, but they're kind of oblivious because they're caught up in their own drama. Hit a kid that exasperates the arguments that they're having with one another. Their search for help leads them to the wrong place and then you meet Isaac, then you meet Malachi, and it's just, an hour of them running for their lives in a sort of town, people under siege sort of tale. That would work because it wouldn't leave you a lot of time to wonder about the economics of the place. Whereas the most interesting thing about this entire film to me is the bitchy relationship between Malachi and Isaac.
Yeah, they and obviously I am not at all the first person to say this about this movie. They are the only two characters that make it interesting and worth watching.
Absolutely. 1,000%. I mean, listen, I love Linda Hamilton, but she's given zero to do.
She is like the ultimate like limp noodle in this.
She is trying her damnedest to make this come alive, but it's just not working. And Peter Horton is pretty to look at and all, but is DOA in the drama department, and he can't effectively be an asshole enough for me to root against him because the script doesn't want you to. But also the character is patently an asshole. She's like, hey, when are you going to propose marriage? And he's like, I'm very concerned about my internship. And at that point, stop traveling with this asshole across the United States. Just
right, exactly.
Stop. Yeah. But we're not given that sort of engaging thing that King was genuinely trying to deliver. And this guy's like, check out Mr. Asshole trying to give these characters motivation and something that you would care about happening, or something you would root against, or just something. Whereas these two are just empty fucking vessels. And Isaac and Malachi, I mean, John Franklin, we've talked about him, particularly on Patreon, as a fascinating cultural artifact. Like, what was going on there? Why was he like this? It's such a fascinating on-screen presence. And then Courtney Gaines, who manages he will pop up in things every once in a while. He just has a face that you're like, yeah, hey, that guy.
Yeah, like these are patented weird little guys. TM.
Yes, very much so.
Like I think that whoever cast them, I think did an excellent job. Mm-hmm. They're creepy. Absolutely. You've got Isaac kind of comes on like this little like 19th century Cotton Mather preacher. Like it's wild when you find out he was like 27 and the character's supposed to be like 13, I think.
Yeah.
Malachi is like this gangly kind of dorky kind of kid until he's like running at you with a scythe, and then he's terrifying.
Yes. He just has that thing where he can kind of go blank in the face, and it really, really works if you cast him well. And that's what's so fascinating between the two of them, because while Isaac has the flash to be the leader of this cult, he obviously does not have the muscle.
No, he doesn't want to get.
He's very much the muscle, but in no way, shape, or form should be in charge intellectually of the cult.
And they resent each other for that.
Yes,
I think that Isaac, knows that he's sort of alive at the pleasure of Malachi.
Right.
Where like if he did, if he who walks the rows wills Malachi to kill Isaac, Isaac will die very quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas
what happens, yeah.
Right. Whereas Malachi resents Isaac being in charge, because the movie does not bother to explain why Isaac was designated as the leader of the group, other than he may have been just very pious and but he just sort of shows up like staring meaningfully at these kids in this flashback scene, like what to do, and like okay, but like how?
Well, they don't really come out and say it, but it is implied that Isaac is the first person to meet He Who Walks Behind the Rose. He then brings as many of the local kids with him to commune with He Who Walks. So there's a sort of like, hey, I have access sort of thing.
Okay,
I'm the person who now speaks for He Who Walks Behind the Rose because he doesn't want to be seen all the time. He has imbued me with the power to speak for him, and Isaac will be the muscle, and he will be my number two. And all the kids in town are like, wow, Isaac's very good at killing adults. We should definitely get behind this sort of situation.
Right. But again, and it is entirely possible that I am thinking about things that don't really matter in the plot at hand. Is what are they going to do when Isaac and Malachi get to be sacrificing age?
That's very true. This is the problem with He Who Walks Behind the Rose, sort of plan here, is if you keep demanding more and more sacrifice from your limited group of kids, because none of them are growing up to there's no babies having babies here. So you're going to run out of sacrifices here before too long.
Well, that's
and
the
then
thing.
What are you going to do?
But another thing that made the the short story chilling is there is a one of the teenagers is pregnant at the end of the story. So, they are still, making another generation, but again, like because of what He Who Walks Behind the Rose demands, they're just going to keep killing themselves or killing each other younger and younger and younger until there's none of them left.
Right.
And that is very spooky.
And as a result, like Malachi is thrilled that the rule is I kill all adults, but he's not particularly good at working with the new information he's given. Cause he's like, this one kid keeps drawing fucking pictures. We got to nip this in the bud. And Isaac's like, she can see the future, you fucking numbskull. You know how valuable that is? And he's like, but pictures, listen, dumbass, when she draws shit, it comes true. So stop fucking with, you think we're going to find another one of those? This is all the future telling draw and picture girls we got. and Malachi's like, I don't know. I just want to knife things. And he's like, great. Save that for the two interlopers coming into town. There's plenty of knifing to be had there. Don't kill the girl who can see the fucking future. And that's where you kind of go. Malachi plays by the rules, but bristles when the rules have to adapt for the situation. Whereas Isaac is playing fundamentalist religion jazz. You can really flow with it. And he's like, I speak for He Who Walks Behind the Rose. Cool. I'm not sure why you get to eat the 3-year-old Oreos we found last week while I'm busy knifing people, but okay. Let's eat more corn for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
As the tour guide said in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, you could do all sorts of things with corn.
It's very true. It's very, very true. And then, of course, we get to the garage guy. And played by R.G. Armstrong, a guy we've seen in plenty of other things.
Oh, always as irascible old bastard.
Yes. And in terms of the relationship here, apparently he's supplying fuel for reasons we're never told, and it doesn't quite make sense. And so who fucking cares? But what does he get in the bargain here?
I mean, not murdered, but at the same time, it's like, why do you have to stay?
You don't have to. I mean, he doesn't have a working car. For a mechanic, that would hold one back if your ability to leave town is dependent on you fixing a truck and you cannot. But also, that dog, just tie the dog up while you're working if he can't stop wandering into the corn to get murdered by Isaac. But not Isaac, by Malachi. But also, why is Malachi fucking with this guy? Why are you fucking with the one relationship we need in this town? Why have you decided to pick on the dirty peanut, who appears to be bad at fixing cars and good at collecting skid marks?
Is this our first elderly dirty peanut?
I think this is our first retiree dirty peanut. That's for sure. Yeah. It's few and far between. I mean, certainly Crazy Ralph does not count. But that cowboy guy who has the eyeball in Friday the 13th 3D might qualify as a proto dirty peanut. We just didn't have the language to say it at the time.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. At one point, Malachi is demanding information from his minions. And he goes, just tell me where they are. And someone says, the cornfield. Well, you're going to need to narrow that down.
I was going to say everything's in a fucking cornfield.
We're surrounded by fucking cornfields. Like you, the left one, the right one, the shitty one, the good one, just something that might help here. Just at the end of the day, I don't think there's enough story here to stretch it to 90 minutes.
No, of course not.
It's either an Assault on Precinct 13 style siege movie, which I think could work, or it's we're constantly being chased around this abandoned town and it just becomes a siege on a different building sort of situation, which I would also think would work. But this just slows down to talk to these two very uninteresting, unaging children. And none of that girl's pictures help the two people who we're told are the protagonists of this fucking movie. Other than it gives Bert the idea to go to the cornfield. But again, how does he find where the fuck they are? There's no directions on that fucking picture. He doesn't say, give me a direction to head in. He just takes off like she's in the cornfield and finds her.
It's like, north.
But like, filmmakers have tried for a long time to make corn come off as scary. And this film truly fails on every level to make corn scary.
What was that movie that came out a couple of years ago? Where like the they walk into a cornfield and it comes alive
in the tall grass, which is
the tall grass
is a combo King and one of his sons effort.
You know what? God bless him. That movie was boring as shit.
Yeah, I don't think it's that scary. It is one thing to be trapped in a cornfield where you can't see outside of the maze and everything. I get that idea, but every time they try to make it come alive in a movie setting, it's always like a grip off camera bending corn stalks in one direction or the other. You're like, this just ain't doing it for me, fellas.
I will say the only movie I think that uses that kind of setting effectively is probably Signs.
Oh, sure, because you're not really necessarily afraid of the corn itself, but it's simply that it could be hiding something.
Right, something is hiding in it. Yeah. Right.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Imagine a room that feels calmer, warmer, more inviting. That's the quiet beauty of Serena and Lily. Every piece is designed in-house, crafted by expert hands and made to live effortlessly with what you treasure most. Choose from over 150 fabrics and finishes, including bespoke sizing, and let their complimentary design team guide you. Start your transformation at serenaandlily.com. Discover thoughtful luxury at serenaandlily.com.
Whereas, yeah, I think this is a very, and I say this knowing full well that both of us are coastal people, that I think this is a very coastal person's idea of something horrifying.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, the Midwest.
And the realization of He Who Walks Behind the Rose also doesn't help, because it's one of these variable monsters where they couldn't decide, is it something that's just underneath the dirt, and when it passes through there, there's this The Thing style gag where you see this mound of dirt hump as something unseen is crawling underneath it, which is one thing that can work. And then
not here though.
Not here. But it's not helped by the fact that the other visualization of He Who Walks Behind the Rose is a free floating POV that is 12 feet off the ground. And I'm just going to say it out loud here. This is one of those things you have to decide. Does he travel underneath the ground, or does he float above the fucking corn? Because it can't be both, and me find it scary.
I mean, I just like the heavy metal video lighting that they use to represent him.
When people Tron out like they're being de-resed on the corn crosses.
Exactly.
It's one of those things where no one gave it enough thought as to what he does. And so they, at a certain point, Malachi is like, you know what we ought to do? we just got to throw Isaac up on one of these fucking corn crosses and let he who walks behind the row just go at him. Like, it's bound to be a great idea. And so they do that instead of putting the kid from the New Kids up there. Did you recognize him?
No, I didn't. That was him?
The kid who carves it into his chest and they're about to drink his blood out of the corn chalice. He's Gideon from the New Kids.
I'll be damned.
So I would say doing better work here than he would a year later. But that's just because his role in New Kids is one of the lesser, like, which one are you again? Like, what's your thing? Like, I get the one guy who's really into the killer dog, but what do you do? He never could quite answer that question. Here it's smile and I'm constantly bleeding from my self-inflicted chest wound. But he's supposed to go up on the cross and Malachi is like, no. You know who we all hate? You know who we all secretly resent? Fucking Isaac. Let's put him up.
Which again does not. Now I get that Malachi is like a teenager and he's a little hot-headed. Let's say
a skosh impulsive, a little stab happy.
But at the same time, like sacrificing the leader of your cult does not seem like a good idea.
I just don't think he gets enough pushback when he inserts himself into Isaac's sermons, right? There's that section where Isaac is basically like, it has been foretold there are two interlopers who are coming here. We've given them no choice. It is destined that they are here to arrive. We are going to sacrifice them to he who walks behind the rows. I need you all to get on board with this. And Malachi is off to the side going, yeah, we're going to do that, aren't we, guys? And we're like, what the fuck? We didn't come here for Malachi's great verbal dexterity. That is not your role, my friend.
Like, I just sort of think that if supposedly he who walks behind the rows is speaking through Isaac, that it would not be in their best interest to kill Isaac, no matter how much they may not like him.
Yeah, no one else has really been able to commune directly. And obviously they're getting some benefit from this other than being kill crazy, right? He provides them some sort of high. Eating that corn must be a religious experience on some level. Otherwise, why would you like, hey, I'm 19, time to according to the movie rules here, like Amos is like, I'm 19, time to sacrifice myself to the corn. If you have that level of religious mania, there is some tangible benefit you're getting from the cult values from this that makes you want to participate on that level. And if you're one of Malachi's horde, at least you're occasionally getting to stab somebody. But everyone else, like, what are you getting?
Yeah, nobody seems to be getting anything out of this.
Yeah.
Like, at least like, well, I know maybe not, because like a lot of cults, it does end up you just end up doing a lot of manual labor.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know what they benefited from in getting rid of the adults. Finally we could do all the labor around the farms ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like they don't have any autonomy. It's not like Isaac is like collecting like a harem. He does seem to be living about as pious a life as you can in these situations. So he's not swindling them. This isn't like a Jim Jones thing.
No,
where he's bullshitting them. There is
a supernatural being that is.
Yeah, there is a being that is controlling this situation.
Yeah.
So, but I don't like what is even the benefit that Isaac is getting out of this?
I think I think there is the proximity to power.
To be in charge of the corn?
To be in charge of the corn, that everyone listens to him when he talks. We are told he's a child preacher, so this is sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy here. For a long time he was, traveling from town to town, speaking in tongues. Well, now he's in touch with a genuine supernatural deity. So I think there's a bit of like, hey, this is more than just a take it on faith thing, we can tangibly see I'm connected to the supernatural being who makes people glow. And they come back looking like they were just that close to a volcanic eruption. he dies and comes back from the dead at a certain point here, I guess.
Yeah. I think that the idea is that Malachi pissed he who walked the rose off by sacrificing his messenger, which honestly, Malachi should have thought of that.
But thinking is not Malachi's.
Well, no, of course, that's the point. He's impulsive.
Yeah. So, am I surprised? Of course, I'm not surprised, because Malachi, love him as I do, he's a dim bulb. He does not glow that loudly or brightly. But it's why anyone else listens to him does bring up doubts in my mind, to be honest.
Because they're afraid they're going to get a scythe across the neck.
I guess, but you can't kill that many fucking people within the cult, because if you kill younger kids, who's going to be your manual labor? Who's going to put their shoulder to the wheel and pull up that corn or seed new corn or whatever the fuck, however corn works? I don't need to know, and I don't want to know. And the movie certainly doesn't fucking tell me.
No.
I think it takes Bert 45 minutes to admit that Vicky made some good choices and finally apologizes at a certain point. We're like, you're a little too late for that, pal. Like, you really should have listened to her this whole fucking time.
Yes.
But he does not. And then somehow he who walks behind the rose does a lot of menacing, but he's bad at the muscle component himself. Because when Bert goes out at one point to throw a Molotov cocktail, he is attacked by Korn in an Evil Dead sort of situation, but he gets out of it rather quickly because Korn is not scary.
No.
And they cannot make it appear that way when just a few years prior, Evil Dead demonstrated this is something that can happen. And it just goes to show you what a difference a director makes. Someone who really has talent and ideas versus, I don't know, go out there with Peter Horton, just slap him with a bunch of corn stalks. I'm sure these dipshits will enjoy it. And then they do blow up He Who Walks Behind the Rose, either the underneath portion or the above ground portion. But what I do like is when he blows up, he becomes a fireball with a face. Just suddenly he's got a face. It goes, ah. And you're kind of like, okay, can he survive that? Is this an interdimensional being that can be burned to death, I guess? Is the symbiotic relationship with the corn? Like, I don't know. It just leaves me with a lot of questions, and it's not going to give me any answers.
Yeah. This is a thing where the answer to all these questions is, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't quite get it. And I don't know why it would ever continue. I can see it as a short story, but this is a real nothing burger that I cannot imagine why it was given 8 sequels, 1 remake, and 1 fucking reboot.
Yeah, that I had to review that reboot, and it was even worse.
Wow.
Like to give it a little bit of a modern spin, the Isaac character was a little girl instead. Mm-hmm. And I got a real, this is supposed to be like Greta Thunberg vibe to it. And it's like, where she's very aggressive in her beliefs and she's got the little pigtails like Greta has or had. And, it's like, yeah, I see what you're doing, filmmaker. I'm picking up what you're putting down, and you know what? I'm putting it back down.
Anything else? I wish there was more to it, but the movie just doesn't have time to be interesting, and it doesn't have time to really fuck up either.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, I think that John Franklin and Courtney Gaines are both a very, very interesting presences.
Yeah.
And, I think that particularly when he's strapped up on the corn cross, and he's scared, and he's actually seems like a little kid for once, instead of like this weird, grave little, time traveler from the 19th century, that, I think that John Franklin is really trying. And, I think he gives it like, the element of spookiness that the story required. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, he's the only thing that makes it spooky.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do. It's just, I knew this would never make it to main feed. It's inessential. And I really tried to make it come alive in some way, shape, or form. But even then, there's only so much real estate within the framework of the movie to make something out of it. It's just really a nothing burger growing on a stalk in the middle of Nebraska.
I mean, I do like the only part that anybody who's seen it remembers is Malachi. Yeah. I do have a memory of being about 17 or 18, being at a party and getting very drunk and wandering in the woods with some friends and yelling that very loudly and someone getting upset.
You do have to give it to Isaac for this. He was one of the first to come out of the gate with that influencer girl's big dumb hat look.
Oh yeah.
He pioneered it.
Yeah, he pulls a little bit of a Kubrick stare at the beginning, which is nice.
And I just do think that at the end of the day, Malachi and Isaac are they hate one another deep down. They want what the other has. And they're so pissed off that they won't listen to each other. But at the end of the day, no one should be listening to Malachi. He's a pretty dum-dum.
Yeah, no, he's just like you give the town bully a scythe.
Yeah. So why don't we choose our own death venture and sacrifice this episode the way it's meant to be? Of the deaths in this film, if you were forced to die in one of those ways, which would it be and why? We have up front, we got poisoned via coffee shop coffee. You can have your throat slashed. You can have your hand fed to a meat slicer. You can be hacked to death. You can be slashed in a cornfield and then run over by a car. You can be stabbed in the back multiple times. We don't know how many of the people in town are killed, but we assume that they're hacked to death or sacrificed to he who walks behind the rows. And then you can get killed inside a gas station. You can get killed in a cornfield. You can be crucified by cult members to he who walks behind the rows. And we're not really sure how that works necessarily. You kind of get troned to death. You could be scalped, but that only applies to the dog. And then you get, this says that Malachi's neck is snapped by he who walks behind the rows. Is that what happens?
I mean, Isaac does.
Right,
like Isaac chokes him and breaks his neck.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're considering that Isaac is possessed because he is undead at this point,
right? Yes, he looks like the zombie from the video dead.
But he also has David Lynch's hair.
Yeah. It's a good look for him, though. I honestly think it is. So, what say you, Gina?
Oh gosh. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool to get troned out and then come back.
Yeah.
And scare a couple people and talk in a weird voice and then strangle my nemesis.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to sit back and watch the world go to hell and know this isn't my responsibility. And that is Isaac's role there. He's just like strapped up on that thing. He's like, come on, this is a bad idea. But
it's like, why you should have listened to me.
Come on.
And you know what? He's fucking right.
Yes, he might not be right about a lot of things, but about that specific thing, he is 100% in the right about.
He is an antagonist, but he also is the only one who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. It just goes without saying. We are a pro Isaac podcast.
We are
only great ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Isaac did not think that what he was doing was villainous.
No, it is. He's shown up to where a supernatural being is, and he said, "Oh, that's what I'm supposed to do," and he does it, and like everything's coming up Isaac at a certain point here for him. Until Malachi is like, "I kind of want to be you," and everyone else hears him talk. And then it's kind of proven that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And instantly every kid in town is like, oh shit, we fucked up. That's our bad. Honestly, our bad. We should not have listened to Malachi. He is a big dum-dum. That just about does it. Thank you everyone for listening and supporting us here on Patreon. That's really what is most important. You are a vital part of making this show not only be heard, but heard better by everybody. And you are part of the family, and your contribution is vital. So we appreciate it. We hope this makes you feel happy. That just about does it. Don't worry, folks. The body count will continue for myself and for Gina. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Every month you rent, you're paying someone else's mortgage, building their equity, following their rules. There's a better way. Home ownership means stable, predictable payments, and every one of them works for you, not your landlord. City Ventures is California's leading builder of smart, innovative new homes, and right now owning may be closer than you think. See the numbers for yourself at cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.
Summer is here, which means we all want to look and feel our best. A GLP-1 may be right for you. Visit orderlymeds.com to learn more about which GLP-1 you could be eligible for. Getting started is fast, easy, and happens virtually through telemedicine from licensed professionals. Check it out for yourself. Go to orderlymeds.com/podcast. That's orderlymeds.com/podcast. Taking care of yourself feels great. Compounded medications are not FDA approved. Eligibility required and determined by a licensed provider. Individual results may vary. See website for details.